I am a partner in a software consulting company. Other than that, for fun, hang out with the wife, and I'm a practitioner of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 5-6 days a week. Very intense. Particularly, I'm just turned 40, 6 months ago, so it's definitely an effort to keep up with the young guys, but it's something I enjoy a lot, and it's definitely an intense sport. I first started noticing atrial fibrillation when I was going to bed at night. At the time, I didn't know it was atrial fibrillation. It just felt like rapid heartbeat or what I was calling palpitations at the time. At first, it was infrequent, so I would have it maybe one night and then would go several days and then wouldn't have any episodes, and then I would have another episode, say, several days later. It became more frequent, and that's when I made an appointment with my cardiologist and decided to get it checked out, went through a series of tests, got referred to an electrophysiologist, and then ultimately through monitors and things like that, was diagnosed with atrial fibrillation. Well, I'm definitely a data-driven person, so I did quite a bit of research in terms of what the condition was, what the possible solutions to the problem were. So I knew it was something that I definitely wanted to deal with. Really the only two options that my research indicated, which also was backed up by my doctor's feedback, was drug therapy, which to me really kind of masked the problem, or having a procedure done. And given the fact that I didn't want to live a compromised lifestyle, I'm very active in lots of sports, and younger in terms of the average population for this condition, I wanted to take the most curative approach to the problem. The success rates in my research and in my personal opinion seem to be fairly high with cryoablation. And while it's a newer procedure, there was enough experienced professionals with the procedure, and it had matured enough that I felt confident and comfortable pursuing that option for my ablation. I was given advice to, slowly ramp back into full activity. So honestly, I felt good enough after the procedure that I had to hold myself back a little bit. I, didn't do much of anything for the first 5 or 6 days after the procedure, just kind of really took it easy around the house. From there, I started, a walking routine where I would first go out for a half an hour and then increase that over several days to an hour, and stayed at that hour walking at a fairly brisk pace for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then at about the 6-week mark, I went back and started training my sport again. Again, gradually at first, and then back to full speed. I would say I was probably back to training pre-atrial fibrillation levels at about the 8-week mark post-procedure. I recommended cryoablation to a friend of mine because I have had a very positive experience with it. I felt like my recovery time was shorter than expected. The result for me has been optimal in terms of no recurring issues or anything like that. So when my friend was going through the same thing that I had went through, I certainly recommend them to take a strong look at cryoablation as the procedural approach that they took.